Turkey or Türkiye, who exactly is the United States playing at the World Cup? That's the question on a lot of people's minds, and the answer is a little more layered than you might expect. So here's the setup. The US played its third group stage match at the World Cup in Los Angeles, and their opponent is a team most Americans would recognize, but the name on the scoreboard might have thrown some people off. FIFA, the tournament organizer, and Fox Sports, an official broadcaster, are listing the team as Türkiye, spelled Turkiye and pronounced Türkiye. Meanwhile, the New York Times and much of the Western news media are still going with the familiar Turkey. So what's going on? Let's go back to basics. The modern Turkish state was founded in 1923, after the fall of the Ottoman Empire. In the English-speaking world, it's been called Turkey ever since, when the country was born, when it joined NATO, all the way up to today. Other languages have their own versions. French says Turkey, German says Türkiye, Spanish says Türkiye. But in Turkish, the country has always been called Türkiye, just like Germans call Germany Deutschland and Spaniards call Spain España. The push to have the rest of the world use the Turkish name started in the last decade and came largely from the top, from President Recep Tayyip Erdoğan and his Justice and Development Party. A researcher in political toponymy at Eskişehir Osman Gazi University described it this way: the AKP government has built a narrative around a more confident, powerful, internationally visible new Turkey replacing the old Turkey, and the name change is, quote, a symbolic piece of that broader claim to agency and visibility. It also coincided with an international public relations campaign. Now, this wasn't exactly a grassroots movement. The same researcher noted that while some groups welcomed the change, others questioned its necessity or sincerity. It hadn't built into a broad social movement over the years. Still, it's gained traction at the institutional level. The United Nations officially changed the name in 2022. The US State Department followed in 2023, though if you visit their website today, you'll still see both spellings side by side, Turkey, Türkiye. For a lot of people watching the World Cup, this might be their very first exposure to the new name, hearing television announcers say it during matches. And Turkey isn't alone in this. FIFA lists the Czech team as Czechia, a name that country has promoted for about a decade, though many still say Czech Republic. Cabo Verde, Côte d'Ivoire, there are multiple teams with dual identities depending on who's talking about them. What's maybe the most interesting wrinkle in this whole story is the one that doesn't get stated as often: the bird. The turkey, the actual bird, got its English name because birds imported from Africa passed through Turkish territory and the name stuck. Then when European settlers encountered a similar bird in the Americas, the name stuck again. So for centuries, Turkey the country and Turkey the bird have shared a name in English. And not everyone in Turkey loves that association. A 2025 academic study on the rebranding cited, quote, deeply rooted etymological irritation stemming from the misinterpreted linkage between the Turkey the animal and Turkey the country, which have led to taunts and mockery. The paper also mentioned, somewhat delightfully, connotational nuances arising from Turkey-related puns, including that old nursery school gag, Hungary ate Turkey and Greece on China. So what do Turkish people themselves think about all this? At several Turkish restaurants in Midtown Manhattan, the reaction was pretty relaxed. One worker said she calls it Turkey because people don't know Türkiye, and as for which version non-Turkish speakers should use, she shrugged and said, whatever you want. Turkey is good. Türkiye is good. Whether the World Cup accelerates wider adoption of the new name remains to be seen, but one thing's clear: what you call the team on the scoreboard says a lot more than just a name. That's the story. I'm glad you tuned in.